Thanks to the support as a channel member, B.E. Woodcock. Here we go then, folks. The final season of the Leicester Save begins here with a transfer special in which we've got £70 million to spend. We're hot off a domestic league and cup double. This season, this transfer special, everything from here on in is all about winning the Champions League. Hello, welcome to part 22 of my FM21 save with Leicester. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a season review and transfer special right off the back of our domestic league and cup double with the champions of England. Who'd have thought Leicester could win the league? Talk about unrealistic. Goodness me. There's your confirmation that we did just win the FA Cup in the last episode as well. I've literally hit save and haven't gone back into this since. So just checking in with all this stuff. I assume we've got the season review coming straight up. Otherwise, I'm going to hit continue a couple of times and get us to the point where we've got the season review. Win bonus for the FA Cup. Everyone's happy. Right, we'll hit continue once more. Season review has got to be incoming. Otherwise, I've started the episode a little prematurely. The thing is, with these new style season reviews, there's your example of it. They just explode from nowhere. So you have to start a little bit before. But here is the Leicester City end of season review. I love the fact that it's got our 3 trophies that we won on there. Winners of the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the UEFA Super Cup. Best season in the history of Leicester? Of course, it's the best season in the history of Leicester. So if we have a look through our season review, these were all our signings that came in last summer. Remember, last summer, I said it was going to be a quiet summer. Definitely going to be a quieter summer this year. We want to bring in 2 or 3 key players. But last year, we brought in an all-star team. Grimaldo, Felipe, Belotti, Sanchez, Declan Rice, Origi signed permanently, Donnarumma, David Neres. What a bunch of signings that was. Rice has now been upgraded to an elite midfielder after spending a year playing centre-back for us. So I guess he's considered to be signing of the season. I personally would have given it to maybe Donnarumma. Definitely maybe. I mean, how Belotti's only got a C after 38 goals, I don't know. But I mean, every one of these has been a smash, really. Grimaldo, fantastic, 7.35. Felipe, 7.25. Belotti, 38 goals. Renato Sanchez, from midfield, 11 goals, 7 assists. Could I just point out 23 assists for Grimaldo as well? Ridiculous. Declan Rice, a 7.1, playing out of position all year. Origi, barely started any games. Okay, he started 34 games, but still 14 goals, 7 assists, and a 7.02. Donnarumma, world-class goalkeeper. I guess the lowest down the list for rating. David Neres, who played 48 games for us, but did get 11 goals, 25 assists, and still averaged a 7, and he was the weakest signing of last summer. We have got some things to live up to this summer. Just a review of what went on. I'm still getting my head around these new style season reviews. The board expectation was qualify for the Europa League. I think it's fair. I mean, to be fair, we failed that one. We didn't qualify for the Europa League. We qualified for the Champions League by winning everything, finishing first. We're close to maxing out the attendance at the King Power, so we might need a little bit of a stadium expansion in the near future. Belotti finished top scorer, and as you would imagine, the board are very happy with the season we've just experienced. I mean, how that's not match to remember as well as biggest win. Greatest moment in the history of Leicester City, even though it's a team now that's won a couple of Premier Leagues. Are we ever going to do anything that tops beating Barcelona 8-1 and getting presented with a trophy after it? I know it's only the Super Cup, but I'm still so happy about that and so proud of that. I want it on a t-shirt, and Harvey Barnes wants to buy one. The financial stuff, despite everybody saying I was going to bankrupt the club with the transfer policy that we've had, and we'll look at the finances in a little more detail in a second, but you can see when the gamble pays off when you're successful with the team that you put together. Sponsorships are up, broadcast revenue down slightly, but everything else is up. Corporate and hospitality, prize money's gone from 55 to 94 million. That's a combination of winning the Premier League and also getting in the Champions League rather than the Europa League, and all the prize money you get through that, and having a little bit of a run in the Champions League as well. Shirt sales sold nearly £10 million worth of merchandise. Vardy, Belotti, Tielemans, Maddison and Sayuncu, the top shirt sellers. I would imagine even if Vardy leaves this summer, which he almost certainly will, we've kind of said goodbye to Jamie Vardy now, he'll probably still sell more shirts than everybody else next year because you're a Leicester fan, you still buy a Vardy shirt after he leaves, don't you? This was our team of the year then. Donnarumma in goal. A back four of Grimaldo, Sayuncu, Felipe and Pereira. Rice at the base of the midfield. Sanchez an hour ahead of him. Maddison, Belotti and Neres as the front three. I don't think anyone can argue with that as a team of the year. I'm looking at it thinking it does kind of highlight what we need to do this summer as well. A real world-class player on the right-hand side to complement Belotti, Maddison, Aouar, Sanchez, Rice, all these other players that we've got in the midfield and attack. We want someone real top drawer out there. I don't think it's going to be Neres. I don't think it's going to be Akone. I don't think it's going to be Harvey Barnes, who is going to be competing more with Maddison over this side. I think it's a real sign of how well this team have played and how far we've come as well, that we've got a team of the year that doesn't include Ndidi or Tielemans, despite both of them having very good seasons. That's how good we are. And we also need a backup goalkeeper to Donnarumma, because Schmeichel is probably going to be leaving this summer as well. He's also asked to leave. So fans player of the year goes to James Maddison. Who'd have thought, if you were around for the Tottenham save last year and how I never played Maddison, who'd have thought he would go on to be the star man in a Leicester series? But he's quite good, isn't he? I'll let you have that. He's quite good. And Renato Sanchez, young player of the year, who's really kind of pushed beyond Tielemans in that midfield, as a real star for us. Question marks when I spent £40 million on him, but I think we all agree at this point it's 40 million well spent on Renato Sanchez. Signing of the season does go to Belotti. Harvey Barnes, goal of the season, one of his many. Top scorer, Belotti. Most assists, Grimaldo. Most man of the matches to Ricardo Pereira. I love the way this is shared out amongst everybody. It shows how well we've played this year. Luis Felipe, highest average rating. And then competition awards, James Maddison has won the Europa League Player of the Year. How? Were we not in the Champions League? Have I forgotten what happened last season? I'm not going to argue. Well done, James. And there's some records that have been broken as well. As you would imagine, Grimaldo breaking the assist record. Donnarumma, the most clean sheets record. And then history-making stuff. Obviously, winning 3 trophies in a season is always going to be a fantastic season for any club. Never mind Leicester. This is our all-time best 11 now. So it's pretty much the team of last year. The only change from that team of the year, under Barnes, both in it. But other than that, it is the team that we've just had, I think. Belotti already in ahead of Vardy. And then we've got the pretty graphs for the people who like a pretty graph and an average. Next season, board are looking for us to qualify for the Champions League, reach the quarterfinal of the Champions League. We want more than that. We know it's going to be our last season of this save. We want to win the Champions League. So we are going to go all out again this summer with the transfers. This is something that's also going to need a little bit of work. Team leaders, Evans, Schmeichel, Vardy. We already know that Schmeichel and Vardy are leaving. I wouldn't be against Johnny Evans leaving as well. So if all 3 of those leave, we are going to have a little bit of a vacancy for team leaders. And that's when we're looking for the likes of Tielemans and Ndidi, Maddison, Pereira, Castagna, the guys who were here at the start of the save, who've now been here a number of years. It's time for them to step up and really become the team leaders and just show that this is a new generation at Leicester now, with the old men moving on. End of season team meeting. Let's congratulate them on winning the league and say that we want to qualify for the Champions League again next year. They seem happy with that. Pump the fists, tell them that's exactly what we're after. And we also, how do we say, we want to do quite well in reach the latter stages of the Champions League. And that's pleased everybody as well. Point, can I not? I want to pump my fists. I'm doing it wrong. Now go and have your holidays. Toodle pip, everybody. Everybody's happy. You can tell by the fact that they're expressionless. And this is our new season team report, which is a lovely new part of Football Manager in FM21. I really like this because it gives us a real clear idea at the start of summer where we want to be focusing. So straight away, I'm being made aware of a number of good young players that we probably need to check out. So Kean Pennant, I mean, to be fair, he's 3-star potential. He's 4-star potential as a 16-year-old left back. It's not his year yet. Zach Booth, again, 2.5-star potential. I'm gonna ignore that, I think. Grimaldo and Maddison have paired well together on that side. Belotti doing very well. So it's talking through what our strengths are. And if we look at what our weaknesses are, not too much quality depth outside the first team. I would suggest that might not be true. But we probably do want to improve on our goalkeepers. And you can see by the star ratings which positions might need a strengthen. Although it is a little bit of a weird setup with Belotti on 3-star, Neres on the left, Barnes on the right. This is a nonsense. This is a nonsense. Let's move on and ignore that. I say it's a new feature. If it worked well, it'd be a lovely new feature. Right. Let's have a look at our team report properly so we can get I think I've already got a pretty clear idea of what we're going to be doing. We've talked about it in the last episode already even. There's just a confirmation of some of this other stuff that's come through. The board have added £23 million, but downgraded our facilities. Well, let's upgrade the facilities. The board are going to get back to me. Let's just check in with the finances. So again, people asking, have I bankrupted the club yet? There's our balance of £47 million in the black. If we look at the debts, yes, there's £138 million worth of transfer debt. A big chunk of that's going to be paid off this summer. The ones from the first year, we're going to only have one payment left on those. The projection, I'm not that worried about that as a projection. I think that is kind of some justification that actually, you know what, we were okay. And if we keep qualifying for the Champions League, these numbers are going to go up as well. And you only need to sell a few players in there and we're absolutely fine. So the risks we've taken financially have very much paid off. And that's confirmed by the board throwing money at me this summer and saying, Kev, do it one more time. Throw some money around. Here's an extra £400,000 in your wage budget. Here's an extra £70 million to spend. Go and put together a special team for us. And if we have a look at the team report, again, pinch of salt time, because Belotti obviously isn't going to get replaced this summer. Neres is apparently better than any of the strikers that we've got at the club, which I'm struggling to get on board with. If we've got the 3-star filter on here, we have. I mean, this is a board. This is was it the board or my backroom staff said we've not got any strength in depth? They've clearly not looked at our central midfield, where Calvin Phillips is so far away from the first team. We probably need to move him on this year, but he's still a very good player. If that's a sign of no strength in depth, I'm baffled. But I think what we need is someone to maybe replace Vardy and be able to play out in these wide areas. So someone who can pretty much be comfortable in any of these areas and not necessarily force his way into a starting player on either side, unless we can find that world-class right winger that we were talking about. We certainly don't need to touch the midfield in any of the positions in midfield. We could probably do with one more defender coming in. If Johnny Evans is going to be moving on and Declan Rice moves into midfield, we're a little bit light on centre-backs. I seem to buy a centre-back or two every summer. Castagna, Grimaldo, Pereira. I mean, Ndidi potentially at right back if Declan Rice is going to play there. I think we're probably good at the back. Maybe one more centre-back and definitely a backup goalkeeper are needed. If we have a look at what's already been scouted and maybe try and get an idea of some potential targets in those positions before we effectively wait for the 1st of July, because we're not going to get a huge amount of business done now unless there's some real transfer listed bargains in positions that we want to strengthen. So backup goalkeeper wise, if we sort by scout recommendation and look for players of a reasonable price, I don't think there's anyone particularly stand out on there that we need to go and get right now. Should we get Kayla Navas to come and sit on our bench? Might be a little bit extreme. On the right wing, again, I don't know. As bargains, Calvin Stengs is someone that I've liked in FM before. Marcus Edwards, people have been raving about on Football Manager this year, haven't they? Looks like in this save, he's not actually made it back to England yet. So he's probably someone who's worth an extra scout, because I'm hearing so much from other people's saves about how good he is. And Kluivert's already made it to the Premier League with Arsenal, so I imagine that price is a lot higher now. That's probably a scout report from before then. But Kluivert's kind of the exact player I've just described. I think Arsenal have got him. Arsenal got him at January. He would have been perfect because he can play on either wing and up front, and he's just as comfortable in any of those positions. Not going to be a starter in any of them, but can sit on the bench and come on and provide something for us in all three of those positions as and when he's needed. Kluivert would have been perfect, but that scout report does it have a date on it? The scout report's from last year when he was still playing for Roma. He's now gone to Arsenal. There's no chance of us getting Kluivert now, but he would have been exactly the kind of player that we're after. So we're keeping an eye out for somebody like that. And then centre-back. What have we got in centre-back? We tried to get Eric Garcia last summer. Is he now asking to leave Arsenal? Oh, no, wants to. Oh, yeah, so he does want to leave. Well, you should have come to us when you had the opportunity, Eric. We tried to bring him in last summer. He decided to go to Arsenal instead. He probably would have been a starter for us by now. But he's not as good as Rodrigo Kiao, who obviously we've moved on. So I don't think we're that interested in Garcia anymore. Tomori, if he's a little bit cheaper, would have been tempting just for being homegrown. Let's see what my director of football suggests. So goalkeepers. We're getting to the stage of the save now where probably a lot of these are already going to be scouted. Okay. We're going to do a little bit of scouting. We're probably going to ask him for every position just because I can't resist. I can't help myself from asking for something in every position, even the ones we don't need. Don't click midfielders, Kev. You don't know. He's done it. He's clicked midfielders. Odegaard, eh? Stop it. For goodness sake, man. You don't need a midfielder. You don't need you might need a striker. Who have we got? Memphis Depay. He's quite cheap at the start of FM21, isn't he? But he's made his cheap move to Atletico, so we're not going to get him for a reasonable price. And Tammy Abraham's an interesting one. In the realms of another pressing forward. 20 goals in 25 caps for England. Real Madrid are interested in him. How much would Tammy Abraham cost? We don't need him because we've got Belotti, but that's quite interesting. Again, looking in terms of homegrown, because of the restrictions we're going to be in with work permits and stuff. We can't just go and bring in a bunch of players from other countries like we would have done previously. Anyone who's been around on the channel for a few years knows this is Brazilian wonder kid o'clock. It's not really something I can do this year. So we'll get those guys scouted. Apparently, I'm interested in Tammy Abraham. That's been leaked. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Belotti responds to it, to be honest. But let's go forward a little bit. Unless something major happens, we'll probably come back on the 1st of July, see what's available for free, make some moves then, and start to assemble the squad that's going to win the Champions League. Well, there's actually been quite a lot happened since I recorded the last clip, but nothing major enough to make me stop. It was lots of, I'll tell him about that in a minute. But Jamie Vardy retiring, that seems quite significant. Both Vardy and Johnny Evans have now retired, and they've both become youth coaches at the club. So we've kept them both around. They have retired. So definitely both going to need replacing. In other news, there's been a little bit of transfer business going on. I'm hopeful of bringing in my backup goalkeeper and my extra defender that I wanted, Jordan Pickford, happy to come in as a backup for us. Yes, he wants £30 million and £150,000 a week as a backup, but we want to win the Champions League. At least he's a proper backup. And also Romagnoli, who's at Liverpool, but he's a natural ball-playing defender. It's where we've been playing Declan Rice all year. He's not really getting the game time at Liverpool, but looking at him on the star rating, he's better than any defender we've currently got. And of course, thinking in terms of FIFA Ultimate Team, there's going to be good chemistry between him and Donnarumma, both being Italian internationals. We did make an audacious offer for Jadon Sancho as well. We had a £98 million offer accepted for him, but he wanted £300,000 a week. The board wouldn't let me offer more than 150,000, and it all fell through. And then the other big news is Yuri Tielemans looks like he's probably on his way out of the club. We had a £96 million offer from Paris Saint-Germain, which I kind of rejected without even thinking. But then Tielemans came to me and said, I want to go. I tried to persuade him to stay. He didn't want persuading. So he did the thing where we agree a price. The price we agreed with Tielemans was 101 million. I'm a man of my word. Paris Saint-Germain came in and offered the 101 million. So it now looks like Tielemans is probably going to be leaving. We can't even offer him a new contract to get him to stick around. He wants to go. So it's not a disaster like we were looking at when we did the end of the season stuff. Tielemans wasn't actually in our team of the year. Maddison can quite easily drop back into that midfield if he has to. But we've still also got Ndidi, Aouar, Sanchez, Phillips, all able to play in that central midfield role. So we've got plenty in centre mid. And by Maddison dropping back, it does open the door for Harvey Barnes to maybe step forward. Although he's theoretically only a 3-star player, I think we all know different. We've seen how well he can play. So Barnes could find a route into the team with Tielemans leaving. And obviously with Vardy going, we either need Edouard to step up or someone to come in and replace him. There's some big teams in for Edouard. If they come in and offer anywhere near his value, we definitely take it. But then we would just be left with Belotti and Origi and kind of needing another striker in at that point. But if we get Pickford and Romagnoli in, I think our defence is finished. And then with the Tielemans money, I guess a striker and then someone in this kind of area to kind of replace Tielemans in a squad spot, not necessarily a like-for-like positional thing, but just as a midfielder / kind of creative attacking midfielder-y kind of guy. I don't know who that person will be yet, but we're going to start looking for him now. It looks like Tielemans is going. Well, I figured out who to bring in as my attacking midfield option. Utterly ridiculous as it may seem. Where is he? He's up here somewhere. We've only got and brought in Neymar on a free transfer from Paris Saint-Germain. £185,000 a week. For context, that's much less than Jadon Sancho wanted. The board were willing to stretch for this fella. The days of James Maddison playing on the left wing are over. Poor old Harvey Barnes has he's gone home sick. He can't cope with what he's just seen. But Neymar's a Leicester player. I'll say it again for those at the back. Neymar is a Leicester player. Absolutely ridiculous. Sensational scenes. Yeah, number 6. I mean, can we really give Neymar number 6? Yeah, why not? What's the harm? And we brought in some other guys as well. I'll show you the other transfers. They've kind of had their headlines stolen by Neymar, just swanning around the place though. So in addition to Neymar, Yuri Tielemans has left the club. The fans aren't very happy about it, but what you're going to do? We also brought in, should we just go to the transfer page? Because, why are they not showing on here? We also brought in Pickford and Romagnoli, the two that we were talking about before. So they're both in as well. So with them in and Tielemans out, for a start, we've still got £95 million of transfer budget left. We might still go in for Sancho. And if we have a look at the team report, Neymar's now the best striker at the club and the best left winger at the club and basically the best player at the club. Maddison is now our best right winger, hence the look at the move for Sancho, because I think Maddison has to be part of the central midfield picture this season with Tielemans moving on. I think if we've got a 4 here of Maddison, Sanchez, Aouar, and then Ndidi / Phillips / Rice, whoever's not playing here, Ndidi, Rice, Sanchez. I mean, maybe Calvin Phillips needs to move on. He can't even if he's not even 3 stars as a holding midfielder now. If we can find another good centre mid that we can afford in our budgets, we perhaps move Phillips on. Right back, I think we're good. Left back, I think we're good. Jordan Pickford doesn't even show up on the goalkeepers list. We know he's not great, but he's a good enough backup for us. And a defensive centre back for us. Sionchu, Felipe, Rice, Romagnoli. We've got, I'm sure who's our other defender? Sure, we've got another defender because Rice is pushing forward. We've still got Diakabi, we've still got Joaquin, we've still got Fofana on the books, but he's out on loan and I think probably finished. In fact, these two probably need to be transfer listed. Let's try and trim some of these extra players that we don't really need. I think it's time we can start getting rid of some of these guys. Leicester have moved on beyond the likes of Joaquin. I don't think he's getting anywhere near this team again. Danny Ward I've already offered out. Kasper Schmeichel's actually happy to just stick around and sit on our bench. He's not even going to be on the bench because we've got Pickford. He's got his testimonial this summer. Hopefully he retires before the end of the save and we can get him into the coaching setup with Vardy and Evans. So fullbacks, I don't think there's any extra there, is there? Centre backs we've dealt with. I think we probably look to move Phillips on because he barely played last year. I think it's time for Calvin Phillips to go. I think we offer him out. It's not something that we have to do, but I don't think it hurts to get rid of him. And likewise, in these attacking areas, we're a little bit overloaded in fringe players. I'm looking at Edouard, Akone, Origi, Neres, Barnes, Maddison, Belotti. We've got a lot of players in these positions. Someone like Akone, I don't know. Does Akone get anywhere near this team now? He started 5 games last year and we've just signed Neymar and we're looking to sign Jadon Sancho. Ahead of him in the pecking order on the right-hand side, which is the only place he's really got a chance. He's already got Maddison, Neres, Neymar and Ricardo Pereira. Pereira's never going to play there. Realistically, neither's Neymar. But he's got Neres and Maddison ahead of him on this side. Plus Harvey Barnes plays there ahead of Akone. I think we probably move him on as well. And then Edouard's the big question mark up here because we brought him in to much fanfare. He was grumpy the whole time. Then he got injured. Now he's back, but he had Vardy ahead of him. I think we probably need a better striker than him. I said I wasn't going to do much business this summer. This is turning into another clear out. Let's see if there's any decent offers for Edouard. Because then if we could bring in Sancho, a decent striker to back up Belotti, and a decent central midfielder to add into that mix and get rid of all those players, I think that becomes incredible business for this summer. We see what's about. Well, we've got a little bit of good news, bad news. Good news, we're finally selling Edouard. We're actually selling him at a profit. So he's off to Leipzig for £30 million. A player that we bought for £22.5 million, only scored 3 goals. We've also sold Danny Ward for almost as much as the club paid for him, which is ridiculous. Jadon Sancho is a little bit sad because we were actually back in for him. We offered him £275,000 a week in the end, which he accepted. But I guess if you've got the choice between Barcelona and Leicester, you probably do go to Barcelona. So my second big marquee signing of the summer hasn't really come off. We've got lots of interest in Joaquin. We've had Calvin Phillips turn down a move to Lazio. We've had Ikone turn down a move to... Who did he turn down a move to? Both Roma and Milan. Ridiculous. But we have potentially got Timo Werner coming in. I was trying to bring in Tammy Abraham. We just couldn't get a deal agreed with Chelsea. But then I noticed while I was pursuing Abraham that Timo Werner was on the transfer list and not really playing. He only played 15 times for them last year, presumably because Abraham's in ahead of him. But as a player to rotate with Belotti, Timo Werner at 38 million feels like a deal. And we've also got some money from Babu that we can bring in there. And we do still kind of need a midfielder though. So if we're not getting Sancho, we are back to the drawing board on there. But I'm just going to get the Werner deal hopefully completed first, assuming he does get a work permit, having not played a huge number of games for Chelsea. Diakabi's going in the opposite direction, so £32.5 million to send him to Chelsea. So another one who we've brought in, not really played a lot and turned a massive profit on. The benefit of being a Premier League winning side now, we're in a position to kind of set our prices, which is quite nice. Obviously, we're not real top tier, or we'd have got Jadon Sancho, but we did get Neymar, and we are fetching some good prices for our fringe players. And we had Sergio Aguero in on trial. He's a little bit past it now, but we are going to continue looking for midfield players. And hopefully, I don't know when the Werner deal is supposed to be. We're waiting for a work permit for Werner. I'm assuming it's not going to be a problem, but we'll just hit continue a couple more times. Let this go through. Come on, can we see Timo Werner anywhere? Any chance that we're going to get him now? No. I don't want whoever this guy is. He's for the youth team. I can live with it. And my director of football does get a little bit clicky. You think I buy too many players? Goodness me, you should see my director of football if I let him do everything he wanted. Right, another offer in for Ikone. I'm inclined to accept it because I just don't see him getting near our team. It's not the best offer we could have got for him, but it is another profit. And if we now do the normal trick of just offer him out for 30 million, we've accepted 24. If someone wants to come in and pay 30, we'll decline the 24. He actually wants compensation to go to Dortmund. Fine, just go to Dortmund. And Timo Werner is in. We've got £163 million in our transfer budget, by the way, after all these transfers. This summer's not close to over yet. We could bring in a real world-class midfield player to a squad that's already had Romagnoli, Neymar, Pickford, Werner added to it. It's going to be a Champions League winning team. I promise you, we're going to win the We're going to try and win the Champions League. Guess I can't promise we'll actually win the Champions League, but I can certainly promise that we're going to try. I'm surprised Werner's only come in as a 3-star player, to be honest, but then so's Belotti. So I think the way we play, having one of the best pressing forwards in the game come in, he's going to come in and score goals, even if the game thinks he's maybe not quite up to it. That is baffling. 3 starts for Chelsea last year. I guess they're really going for it with Tammy Abraham. To be fair, they did sack Frank Lampard because he obviously doesn't know what he's doing. But that's Werner in. And our budget, we've still got £142 million to spend. Let's go and find a midfielder. Well, this signing completes a lovely little player merry-go-round, transfer merry-go-round thing. Obviously, we know Jadon Sancho left Borussia Dortmund to go and play for Barcelona. Ikone has now left us to go to Dortmund. And we have brought Dembele in from Barcelona. 3 right wingers, swapping between 3 different clubs. And you know what? Yeah, we didn't get Jadon Sancho, but I think Ousmane Dembele at Leicester with Neymar on the other wing. I said we were going to go and try and win the Champions League. This is me trying to go and win the Champions League. I think that, I mean, apparently he's only the 4th best right winger at the club. If that's the case, my word, are we quite good? I'm really happy with how this team is coming together. We've still got over £100 million to spend. I do have a player in mind to come in as my central midfielder to finish off the squad. And then I think we're done. And the player that I had in mind is in Federico Valverde, £109 million from Real Madrid. A different kind of central midfielder to what we've got at the moment. Proper box-to-box midfielder, but can still do the creative stuff Tielemans was doing. He can back up Sanchez or compete with Sanchez for the Mezzala role. He's also another one who can play as the defensive midfielder, freeing up Ndidi to be a right back, Declan Rice to be a centre back. Just lots and lots of flexibility in there to come in and do all sorts of positions. He's the best defensive midfielder at the club. He's the second best, or he's joint best central mid with James Maddison. Even as an attacking midfielder, he's right up there with Renato Sanchez and not a million miles behind the absolute cream of the crop at the club. Let's give him a squad number as well, number 13. Squad registration. I think what we are going to find is we're going to struggle to fit everybody in this squad now. Fofana's gone out on loan to Dortmund, so we can just move him down into the under 23s so we don't have to think too much about him. It looks like everyone in the first team squad has made it in. That is the full first team squad, and they're all in. That works for me. And we have one unhappy player, which is Soyuncu, because as part of the Neymar deal, we had to promise to make him vice captain. So we had to strip it off of Soyuncu. He'd only been given it at the start of the summer when Vardy retired. So he's a little bit grumpy, but hopefully he's going to get over that. We'll send Valverde on his intensive language course. We'll praise Renato Sanchez for being awesome and continuing to get better. We'll criticise Soyuncu for being grumpy, and we'll have a look at the squad. I think that is a squad that can't guarantee would, but could win the Champions League. We've got a little bit of money left, but to be honest, I think we're pretty much spent up. I don't know what we'd need at this point. And I remember I've said this the last couple of summers, and then right before deadline, we brought in Calvin Phillips the first year, Declan Rice the year before. So maybe there's another defensive midfielder on his way in on deadline day, even if I don't really need him. But I actually expect that we're probably done. And I think I'm going to show you the Community Shield in the video. It's a bit of a tradition, certainly in the non-League to Legend videos, it's a bit of a tradition that we show the Community Shield in the transfer special. So we'll do that. We'll play the Community Shield now, and then I think we are done. I just can't imagine. I can't even think what we'd bring in now. Future Kev, what have you got in store for us? So this is the new look Leicester side for the Community Shield. We've got Donnarumma in goal, a back four of Grimaldo, Romagnoli, Luis Felipe and Pereira. Rice at the base of midfield, now playing as a deep-lying playmaker, which suits him better than playing as a defensive midfielder. He was there before. Valverde in his natural box-to-box midfielder, alongside Renato Sanchez as a Mezzala in centre mid. And then Neymar, Belotti and David Neres as our front three, means on the bench for Leicester, we've got Jordan Pickford, we've got Castagna, we've got Dembele, we've got Origi, Ndidi, Aouar and Timo Werner. That's our bench. Maddison's injured, so he's not in the side. I genuinely feel like we could win the Champions League, which would be an insane end to this 3-year story with Leicester. But obviously we need to prove that we're proper candidates for that kind of thing by absolutely thumping Arsenal today. That's got to be the plan. We look at their side and think, we're so much better than they are. So much better than they are. We've got to beat them. There's no excuses. Leicester need a Community Shield. It'll be another trophy to add to the cabinet. That would make it 5 trophies in this save so far to go with the Europa League and the 3 that we won last year. If we can add the Community Shield and the Champions League this year, make it, what would that be? 6 trophies in the save. All the big ones done. No League Cup. No Conference League, but we can live without them. David Neres has scored, by the way, 3 minutes on the clock. And it's a very good individual goal. But Sanchez and Valverde very much involved. Neres is in, and boom, it's 1-0 to Leicester. 3 minutes on the clock. Starters, you mean to go on. Neres knows he's got huge competition for places this year, with Dembele now in the club as well. And also, he doesn't want Neymar to be outshining him. So lots of interesting developments in these attacking midfield positions. And Declan Rice loving being the playmaker in there. Now Tielemans has moved on, and we can drop that playmaker back a little deeper, which long-time viewers of the channel will know. Throughout FM20, my preference was always to have my defensive midfielder as my playmaker, because it just really makes the entire team tick. And it's beautiful, as you just saw there from Race, with a perfect pass to Ricardo Pereira. The cross can't quite get to Renato Sanchez, but it all came from Declan Rice, pinging the pass around from deep, and Neres has got his second of the game. There's only 13 minutes gone. It's 2-0 to Leicester already, and David Neres is announcing to the world that he's ready to fight for his place in this new look Leicester attack. And I mean, this is the way to do it. If he wants to be playing games this year, we already saw at the start of this video that of all the signings last summer, Neres, average rating wise, was probably the most disappointing. You couldn't say there was a bad signing last summer, but of all the very good signings, the least very good was Neres. And it is important that he steps up and raises his game, because that front three, he's got to be in one of those three positions, and he's competing with Neymar, Belotti, Werner, Maddison, Dembele, Barnes, who we've seen can score. I mean, poor old Harvey Barnes. He can score. He got a hat-trick against Barcelona, and he's now so far down the pecking order. We are growing very quickly as a club. And here's Rice again in that playmaker position. Valverde on his debut, playing it back to the other debutant, Romagnoli. Neymar, I still think it's ridiculous seeing Neymar in a Leicester shirt, but I love it. Rice plays it into Pereira. Neres now, who's looking for a hat-trick, finds Neymar, though. Neymar, with a header from the edge of the area, hits the base of the post. What a goal what a debut goal that would be for Neymar. A header from the edge of the area. Welcome to England, Neymar. Leicester, we're Leicester. Arsenal scrabbling to get the ball clear, but Ramos is there to keep the attack going, and it's Ricardo Pereira once again drills the crossover, and there's Neymar's first goal in a Leicester shirt. It's a cross from Pereira. It's just a lunge forward from Neymar, and it's Arsenal 0, Leicester 3. It's not even half time yet. I said we had to come out today and stuff Arsenal to send a message, and that is exactly what we're doing. Lovely stuff. Again, everything's coming down this right-hand side with Neres and Ricardo. And I'm hoping in time, Neymar and Grimaldo can build a partnership to dominate just as well on this left-hand side. What a performance, though, in this first half. Got to give everybody a pat on the head. We know we've got that strong bench, and there are going to be some changes in this second half because it's the Community Shield. It's a glorified friendly. Let's give everybody a run out. I think we're allowed 6 subs, aren't we? But we'll do it all based on fitness. Neymar playing it back to Grimaldo, then kind of got in Grimaldo's way, but Rice, again, just sitting in that little pocket. Declan Rice spent a year just getting used to life at Leicester, playing as a centre-back. As the season went on, displaced Ndidi at the base of the midfield. And now we're building a midfield around Declan Rice now as that playmaker. And I'm expecting a big season from Declan Rice playing in that role. Ramos out wide, where he doesn't really want to be. But Sanchez has had a shot from range. It's 4-0 now to Leicester. This season's going to be fun, boys and girls. Arsenal are not a bad side. They finished level on points with us in the Premier League last year. 87 points apiece. We won the league based on our goal difference. And I think we're just showing everybody how much we've improved over the summer, while other teams are standing still. Neres is in again here, and he's looking to play it back to Ricardo, who's got a crossing opportunity, but plays it across to Rice, who once again is completely unmarked and picking his passes. I know we've played well in general. This is the Declan Rice show, boys and girls. He is running this game from the base of midfield. Neymar now with an in-swinging corner, looking for, was that Romagnoli? Was that Ramos? I'm not sure who that was at the near post. I haven't actually set up corners for this season, so it's probably Ramos, because he was the one that we were aiming at all last year. I'm not sure if Romagnoli's maybe a better option. We'll have to have a look at both of their heights and aerial abilities, but Ramos got into double figures for goals last year, I think, so it's going to take a lot to displace him as the guy we aim for at corners. I think it's probably around about time we can make a few changes here. Belotti, I know I said I was going to do it based on fitness, but Belotti's not playing well, and we've got Timo Werner on the bench, so it would be silly not to make that change. We're also going to take off Neymar, and we're going to bring on Dembele. And what else are we going to do? Pereira can come off for Castagna. That'll do for now. I know we can make a few more changes. Dembele can play over on this left-hand side, surely. Or would Neres be better off over here? He can play as an inside forward over there, which means Dembele can come straight into that inverted winger role we want him for on the right. With Werner up front. Yeah, that all works for me. Right, Neres, his last contribution from the right-hand side before he switches over to the left to allow for Dembele to enter the fray. Sanchez is charging forward again. This is why it doesn't matter that we sold Tielemans in the summer, because Renato Sanchez had pushed him out of the team anyway. And he's just turned into a real top-tier player over the last probably 6 months or so, as he forced Tielemans out of the side. We're going to take off Felipe. No, we're not, because we don't have a defender on the bench. I guess we'll just finish changing the midfield. Well, in fact, no, we give Jordan Pickford his debut. Pickford can come on in goal. And then we're going to bring on Ndidi to play right back, because that's going to be one of the roles he plays for us this year, probably. And then for my final trick, we're going to take off Neres, who has run himself into the ground today. Origi can come on that left-hand side. I don't think we can make a final change. No, we can't. But that's fine. Aouar can just sit and wait for an opportunity. Any other day, if we weren't giving Pickford a debut, obviously Aouar comes on there. But Origi, I mean, Origi's probably pretty lucky to still be in the mix, but it's the flexibility of Origi, the fact he can play out wide or up front, and the fact he always weighs in with goals. There's been a lot of strikers come and go at Leicester over the last 2 years, but Origi has been an almost constant bench warmer and super sub late goal machine, and got to respect him for it. Origi won't be displaced in this squad. Valverde and Rice just knocking the ball back and forth between each other. Sanchez ends up giving it away, but Romagnoli seems dominant in the air. Dembele plays it forward to Werner, who has a shot from the edge of the area. He probably could have ran on with that, but decides to have the shot. Does test the Arsenal keeper, certainly stung his fingers, but it didn't go in. Former Leicester man and Babu with the throw, but Castagna deals with it, lumps it forward to Werner, who turns, plays it back to Valverde, who's looking for options ahead of him, finds Dembele. We've not seen much of him since he came on, but he is running with the ball here, and this is what we signed him to do. Use his pace, use his run-in, but then maybe pass it off to a striker at the end, because that was a pretty poor attempt at a shot from Ousmane Dembele. But here we have it again. We're getting used to seeing this animation now. This is the third consecutive episode that's ended with us lifting a trophy. This time it's the big one, the Community Shield, the one everybody wants to win. And here we go. Come on, lift the trophy. I can't skip away from the animation, even though it's only the Community Shield. Oh, come on. Way! We get the fireworks. We get the ticker tape that we still don't know where that comes from, because it's not coming out of those cannons. It's just really fat rain, I think, that then gets cleared away before we wander over it. That confirms the rain theory. It's soaked into the pitch. And who's the number 16? Who is it who's wandering around holding the trophy? I'm not sure who number 16 is, but he seems very pleased with himself. Congratulate them on a good performance, and then we'll just finish off this transfer window and wrap up this video, I think. Well, just 10 minutes ago, I queried and wondered what future Kev would have in store for a last signing, and this player, it's an absolutely bonkers signing. It makes absolutely no sense in the context of the save. I fully acknowledge that we did not need to sign this player. However, it might be the only chance in FM21 I get to manage him. He was available. We could afford him. And Erling Harland's a Leicester player. £88 million coming in from Dortmund. Like I say, we did. I mean, we've got Belotti and Werner. We absolutely didn't need Harland as well. But the number 9 shirt's available. And I think Jamie Vardy is probably looking on. He's not dead. He's the under 21s manager, or under 23 coach or so. I gave him some job, but I think he'll be happy with the player that's come in to replace him. How come he counts as foreign when he was born in England? Does he not have English as a second nationality? I mean, that should be something he could get almost immediately, really. Why does he have to wait 1,825 days for English nationality when he was born here? He should just be able to apply for the passport. How does this work? Someone let me know down in the comments. But yeah, he just slots in nicely to the squad. Once again, we've not had to take anybody out of the first team squad to accommodate him. After my big talk of Divock Origi, that might actually finally push him off the bench. And also we're going to get some boosted shirt sales with Neymar and Harland in as well. The one other thing I've done is I've taken the captaincy off of Kasper Schmeichel and given it to Soyuncu, who was upset that he had the vice captaincy taken off him. So I've made him the full captain. Neymar can stay as vice captain. Schmeichel's our third choice goalkeeper. He's not going to get anywhere near the team. So we may as well give it to Soyuncu, who, to be fair, is probably going to be on the bench for most of the season as well, with Neymar actual match day captain. But I can cope with that. This has been our summer, boys and girls. £316 million spent. We've signed Neymar, Timo Werner, Dembele, Valverde, Erling Haaland. Don't know why Pickford and Romagnoli are not showing on there. They came in at the end of last season. And we've sold, to pay for that, we've sold nearly £200 million for players. So it's only a net spend of like 120 million, which for me, that's not too bad, is it? It's the biggest net spend. In fact, it's not even the biggest net spend of the save. But we sold Tielemans, of course, for £101 million, but also departing Edouard, Ward, Diakabi, Ekone, Joaquin. I think it's a cracking summer. There's still money in the bank, a little bit of money in the bank. We just need to adjust these budgets to cover that off as well. We're still slightly overspending there. And we have accumulated a bit more transfer debt, but that's going to be the future's problem. We know we're in our last season. We're never going to have to deal with this issue. Don't try this at home, kids. If I was doing a long-term save, we'd have had a very different looking summer, but we're not. Huzzah! Let's go win the Champions League. And that all starts tomorrow as we kick off the season against Wolves and Sheffield United and really get an idea of how this new look team plays together. I guess our first choice front three now is Neymar, Harland, Dembele. Maybe. I don't even know. What 11 would you assemble out of this wonder squad, folks? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.